Dave, you have the core of your offense back for another year. I guess how much faster can you get them ready for a game in terms of just the scout team things and looks and that sort of thing? And also, how much more of the playbook do you have available to you compared to last year?
Well, with a veteran group of guys now that have a real understanding of what we're doing, we were able to put in the whole playbook during camp. So we were able to introduce all of our things, all of the different pieces, from all of the different areas, different formations, and now we can run the same plays out of 10 different formations and motions and, moving the back around, things that you couldn't do as much because the moving pieces sometimes got in the way. And now that you're into game week, you've basically taken all of that information that we got reps on and put on tape, and we put it in a tight little box, for this week. And so you have this big catalog of information, but you're only going to pick and choose little pieces during the week. And then by the end of the year, you have a much bigger playbook. But that being said, you could go in and call whatever it is that you want to call. And, if we practice it, we should execute it really well. But there's stuff, we might see stuff during the game, and I might be able to go, hey, we have to run this play against that look, because over the last few years, we've seen that play, and I know that play works against that defense. And now it's really easy to be able to go to the side and say, hey, we're running this, we got this, this is what they're doing. And then they're just like, yeah, okay, we got it. So we're much further along with that and excited about where the plan's going for this week.
Naturally, you have the backs that can get to the perimeter, hit the hole fast. What have you seen from the progression of the wide receiver blocking on the perimeter?
Well, that's a critical thing, and that's something that Kerry Dixon puts a lot of time into. And there's got to be a mentality, right? Those guys have to have the mentality that if they want to get paid, they got to block, right? If they want to get the ball down the field, they have to block. So you have to be able to set the things up that they want to be able to do with being able to run the ball. And they're a physical group. They've done a really nice job. The last scrimmage that we had, they were going in and taking on safeties and, locking the edge down, doing a good job there. And when you watch really the elite receivers in college football, all of those guys take pride in their blocking, and they take pride in blocking for each other. So, let's say, we watch a lot of Alabama tape over the winter. Those guys, it's interchangeable. One guy catches the bubble, two guys block. Then they switch the guys. It's just got to be more of a mentality with those guys. And, with our ability to get the ball on the edge and our team speed, you got to be critical to be able to hold up on the edge of the defense.
The last couple of years, your run-pass ratio has been around 60-40, and I know you're someone, I think you've talked a lot about balance, but obviously when you have run threats like you do, it makes sense to tilt it that way. Do you anticipate it changing at all, or is that something that you kind of wait and see how the season unfolds?
I think historically, if you looked at our numbers over the last 15 years or so, it's almost 50-50, and a lot of that is dictated by the defense, right? So if you call an RPO, and they give you the throw, you're going to throw it. If you call that play 5 times, and they give you 5 throws, you're going to throw it 5 times. If they don't, you're going to hand it 5 times. So that's the whole piece of the RPO world that's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean that when you have the caliber of the backs that we have, that you just have to hand them the ball, right? You can swing it to them, you can dump it to them, you can speed sweep it to them. So you got to be able to use those guys, in multiple ways. And with the athletes that we have on the edge, being able to hand them the ball, flip them the ball, throw them the ball, you have that good mix. A lot of it has to do with, how well does your line protect and how well is your Q playing, and, if you go into a situation where those things aren't functioning as highly, then you're going to run it a little bit more. And so I think, over the last couple of years, we've been a better running team than we have been a throwing team. I'd say right now, we're probably as good on both sides. So we'll see if that holds up on Saturday night.
Coach, talk to us about Jeff Sims' comfort with your offense compared to 1 year ago, 10 games ago. His overall comfort with the offense, please.
Say one more time. That the dump truck just got me.
Did you not hear it? Jeff Sims, his
Yeah.
comfort with the offense?
Yes. I mean, some of the throws that he's made in the last 2 weeks, and him seeing the things that he saw in the last 2 weeks, at this time last year, he would have no idea to throw the ball there. And just his maturity, his work ethic, he's super critical of himself. And so he wants to know the answers right away. That's the thing that I love about him, because he came in, he got a lot of burn, he got a lot of publicity. You know, his face is on the banner in front of the stadium, and he doesn't act like that at all. You know, his daily routine has not changed one bit. He's the first one in the meeting room. He sits in there. He always comes in with a couple individual questions prior to the meeting. Say, you know, what was this? I saw this. And he's already watched the tape before he gets with me. So he's saying, okay, hey, I messed this seam ball up. I should have done this. You know, what was that defense? Because he's still young. He's still learning. But just his maturity and his comfortability in his own skin right now about being able to go out there in front of 50,000 people on Saturday night. I mean, he's excited about it. I think this time last year he was really apprehensive about it. Now, you know, he's excited to be able to go out there and play. So, you know, I think he'll put on a nice show.
It seems like 5 of your 4 offensive linemen are sort of set. I'm curious about the right tackle position. That competition, is it still an ongoing thing, or do you feel like you guys have settled?
Yeah, so Jordan Williams and Nick Pendley both were in and out, got dinged up a little bit, missed a couple practices. Then another guy came back, got dinged up a little bit. So those guys they're both going to play. They're both in the mix. And, you know, it's basically, you know, after you're missing that time, are you in game shape enough to be able to go out there and play? Hopefully we're going to play 75 to 80 plays. You know, if you're pushing the tempo and we're moving the ball and you're doing your thing, I mean, that's a big load, you know, for anybody if you haven't done that. So both of those guys will play. Really, really happy with them. And then Weston Franklin has had a great camp as an interior guy. And like we've said in the past, I mean, Jordan could play inside or outside. Nick could play inside or outside. So we'll probably mix 6 or 7 guys in there on Saturday night just to keep them as fresh as we can.
I asked Andrew this. Saturday, what's kind of going to tell you that offense is working the way you want it to? It's better from last year, whether it's, you know, making third downs, avoiding turnovers, or something a little more kind of subjective?
Yes, all of those. All of those things. Thank you for answering that. Playing at a good tempo, executing, not hurting yourself. I think we'll be very, very good on offense if we have to just beat the opponent and not beat Georgia Tech. You know, and that's been the case. Good mix of plays, runs, passes, getting guys involved. And then when the balls are in the air, you got to go make plays. You know, and you know, they're very, very sound schematically. So you're not going to, you know, just get broken plays, broken coverages. You're going to have to earn all of the things that you have there. But when you see one of our offenses that's really moving well, it's going to be in and out of a tempo, in and out of personnel groupings, in and out of different formations, motions, throw it, run it, screen it, just a, you know, good mix. But in order to do that, you have to execute. So all of that stuff is cool, right? But if you jump off sides, you drop the ball, you fumble this, you do that, then you never get any rhythm. So teams that want to play and push the tempo, you know, it's all about the execution of that play before you go to the next one. And I think, you know, if you see that, then you'll know that we kind of have, you know, all 4 wheels on the ground and we're rolling.
Time for a couple more for Coach Patenaude.
Going back to Jordan Williams and the whole offensive line, where has Jordan improved the most And are you satisfied that the offensive line has done a good job in camp in cutting down on those unforced errors?
So everything starts up front, right? Jordan, very similar to Jeff, got thrown into the fire as a true freshman, right tackle against Florida State in the opener. That's a tough deal. His understanding of football and Brent's ability to get him just to understand how to play with leverage and knowing exactly on this play versus this front, this is where the ball is going to hit. So this is the kind of leverage that you need to play with. This is the best offensive line for sure since we've been here. And I think, as you look across the board, all of those guys are playing at a really high level. So I'm excited to, be able to hand that ball to the backs and let them run downhill and see if we can move people out of the way.
Kelly?
What's it going to be like to coach all those guys under the lights with the fans, a lot of them for the first time having been around that?
I have no idea what you get.
What's it going to be like to coach the guys under the lights with fans? A lot of them haven't been around that for the first time. What's it going to be like to maybe kind of handle those nerves with the players?
What's it going to be like to what? Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, last year was such a weird year for everybody across all, across all phases. I mean, it was weird for the fans. It was weird for the coaches, the players. We went to Syracuse, and we were in the dome, and there was nobody in there. And the game got delayed at the beginning of the game. And so I was in the press box. I was just sitting in the dome by myself, just looking around saying, this is so surreal, and no matter how good of a job you do as a staff, and Coach Collins does an unbelievable job of motivating the guys and getting them ready to go and having the plan and the juice and all of that type of thing. When you walk out here and there's 50,000 plus people out here, I mean, the energy level of what you're doing is just so much greater, and I don't think we're going to have to worry about getting our guys ready to play. I mean, they are going to be juiced up, and I think, as a matter of fact, the biggest thing is going to be, hey, listen, on offense, you can only play that way within the whistles, and then you got to go to the next play, and then you got to go to the next play, and you don't normally play like that on offense. And then at the end of the series, let's run to the sideline and hoot and holler and do the little pose or whatever they're going to do. But like during that deal, you got to be able to stay focused on what we're doing. We have to be locked in, okay, and not let any of the external factors have anything to do with what we're doing. The officials, the opponents, the fans, anything like that. Whether we're playing home or away, it doesn't matter. Our focus has to be laser focused. And then when we do that, I mean, we've been pretty good. And, we had a really great day today in practice, so I'm excited to see, those guys out there in front of the group.
I'm just curious, the kicking game's clearly very improved in practice, and I guess how much has that changed your strategy on offense? And I know in the second half of the season, at least last year, you had to play for touchdowns, and that puts a lot more pressure on guys. Just how much do you see a difference just in the way the guys perform in practice and what you can do in game planning?
Yeah, the great thing is that Coach Collins basically lays out the plan on Friday, and he'll say, listen, in these situations, if we get here, this is what we're going to do. If we get here, this is what we're going to do. So your play calling changes based on the fact that, you may have the ability to go for it on fourth, or we may be kicking it, and hey, this is our kick line, so let's, if it's, if you have to really push the ball down the field, your percentages aren't as high. But if you say, hey, we could get it within field goal, right? Let's do that. You can run it. You could run the quarterback. You can run draw. You can run the ball. You can throw it underneath and hope you can run for it. And if you can't, then you feel good about putting the kicker out there and coming away with 3, and the goal is always to end every series with a kick. You know what I mean? So a field goal, a PAT, or a punt, and have us be able to maintain the ball. And, you know, even if we have to punt it, that's okay. You know, so you have to be smart with what you're able to do there. But, I mean, these guys are loading it up from 52, 53 yards and knocking it home. You know, it takes the stress off of you as a play caller a little bit to say, hey, if I could get you to the 30, we got a shot. You know, and that's awesome.
Coach Patenaude, a quick roster question. You have 5 seniors above the line on your offense. 4 of those are offensive linemen. Is that a coincidence?
No, that's awesome, right? I mean, that is, you know, that group coming together, right? You're like 5th year senior, 5th year senior, 5th year senior, 6th year senior, and, you know, redshirt freshman. And so that speaks to, you know, the reason why this thing has gelled so much, you know, and your ability to lay on people in a run game and protect the quarterback is critical. And, you know, I say it all the time about veteran quarterbacks. They've just seen so much more, so the game slows down so much more. And, yeah, I've seen that 1,000 times. I know where I'm going with the ball. It's the same thing for the O-line, right? These guys have blocked inside zone, power counter, whatever, against these fronts for 5 years, right? So there's no guesswork. As long as we're all on the same page and we're communicating and guys are doing a good job of talking and pointing, and, you know, those guys, they don't even get phased right now. They're just like, okay, yeah, this is a call. I mean, we made a call today in practice against a funky blitz look that we've never made since day one that we've been here. And it was like automatic. They saw the look, they went automatic, they changed the protection. And then Jeff came back to me and he was like, are they supposed to change that protection? I was like, yeah, that's a good thing, bro. He's like, okay, cool. They'll take it off your plate. They're good. So, yeah, we're super excited about that group.
Coach Patenaude, thank you.
Thanks, guys.